Hello everybody and welcome to yet another Saturday lesson. In today's lesson we're going to be talking about odd-time signatures, and what I'm hoping to do is to present you with a very simple process so that you can start getting in tune with odd-time signatures, especially if you haven't really sort of immersed yourself in that world before. Now, if you haven't experienced odd-time signatures before, and by the way that goes both as a listener or as a player, it can feel like you're trying to balance on a rope after having downed 2 bottles of Cabernet. And I think that's due to many reasons. One could be a cultural reason. Maybe you grew up in a culture where traditional music or pop music was predominantly like 3/4 or 4/4. For example, I'm Greek, and there is a vast tradition of music and dance that revolves around odd-time signatures like 7/8, 9/8, 13/8. So this is really something that we're kind of in tune to since we're like little kids. That doesn't mean that as soon as I picked up the guitar, I could navigate all those signatures with ease, but it means that on some sort of foundational level, you have some sort of familiarity with all those. It could also be that you've just never sort of listened to that kind of music. If you listen to rock and roll or most of pop and stuff, it will be either on 3/4, 6/8, 4/4. However, there are some great pop records with really exceptional sort of odd-time grooves. I think 10 Summoner Tales by Sting comes to mind. So, it's not necessarily the case that pop music is only going to be in 4/4, 3/4, but the majority of it is. But don't you worry. If you follow me in this journey, I can guarantee that by the end you will at least have some tools that are going to help you tune your inner metronome to odd-time signatures. Now, for the purpose of the video, I will be isolating to 7/8, but all those exercises and drills that we will be exploring can be applied to other odd-time meters, such as 5/8, 9/8, 13/8, and I will probably be doing follow-up videos covering those in the future. Now, as you can see, I'm not holding a guitar, and I'm a big proponent that when we dive into topics as such, they first have to make sense up here. So we have to get the software up to speed and then worry about the hardware. So much of the drills will be done either by clapping or I'll maybe vocalizing them just for better sort of audio quality. All right, so let's get ready and let's dive in. So step 1 is to try and break down the number 7 in subgroups so that it's easier to navigate it. So instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we want to come up with a few ways that we can divide that number. Now, there is a plethora of ways that we can do that, but for the purposes of the video, I will be limiting to the following 3 subgroups. The first one is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. The second is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And the third one is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now, the fantastic thing about those subgroup variations is that they will also give opportunity to interpret the same time signature in different ways. So let's begin with our first subgroup, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The first step really is to fire up the metronome and try and articulate that subgroup over the metronome. What is really important when you do that is to make sure that you accent the first beat of every subgroup. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now, I've got my metronome set, I actually can't remember, I think it's 85, but you can put the metronome at 65 or 50, really take it at your own speed. And all I'm going to do over the metronome is make sure that I keep calling this particular subgroup variation, again making sure that I emphasize the first beat of every subgroup. Okay, let's have a listen with the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Now, if you haven't done this before, it might feel a little bit weird, but you will see that with time, it's just going to get easier and easier, and it's going to feel like the resistance is sort of wearing off, and you're kind of sitting nicely in this subgroup. Let's do the same thing with the second subgroup, okay? Which is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Again, make sure that you accent the first note of every subgroup. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Let's take a listen with the metronome. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And let's do the same thing with our very final subgroup. So we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Let's take a listen. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and so on and so forth. So hopefully if you've done this enough, much like I said in the beginning, you'll feel the resistance sort of wearing off, and it will start to feel a bit more natural. Now, I know natural is kind of a generic word, but I guess less forced. All right, so let's now move on to step 2. So in step 2, we're really trying to push our inner clock and try to sort of tune it further. And what is very important if we want to do that is to start introducing space. Because at the moment, you have a sort of very frequent reminder of where you are in the bar, right? Because you're playing, you're sort of calling out every 8th note. But what happens when we don't call out every 8th note and we only call out sort of scattered parts of our subgroup? The next step would be to only call out the accents. So instead of calling 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, we're just going to call the 1 of each sort of divided subgroup. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And again, if you haven't done this before, it'll begin to feel a little bit sort of awkward, but much like everything, the resistance will slowly start wearing off and it will feel like more natural. So again, this is something you want to be doing with a metronome. And again, you don't need a guitar to do this. Like if you haven't done this before, it just makes sense that you start without a guitar and make sure that your mind and your heart are sort of tuned in first before started getting into the guitar business. We will get into more playing and stuff in the later part of the video. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with our first subgroup, so 4 and 3. And I will be demonstrating the drill over the metronome. Let's check it out. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and so on and so forth. Let's do the same with 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So instead of calling 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, we'll be doing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and so on and so forth. It'll be much easier to conceptualize once I do it with the metronome. Let's check it out. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, da, 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 dum, 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 and so on and so forth. And finally, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. I really like this one. Let's check it out. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Step 3 is arguably more complicated than step 1 and step 2, which is why it's step 3, I guess. And it involves taking a part of the subgroup and introducing some more elaborate rhythmic phrases. So let's explore how we're going to do this over our first sort of arrangement of 4 and 3. Let's take a look. So for this particular rhythmic phrase, we're basically going to play the accent from the first grouping of 4/8 notes. So we're playing one, and then there is a rest for the next 3 beats. And then for the last grouping of 3/8 notes, we're basically introducing a rhythmic phrase, which is basically a 16th note rest followed by a 16th note, and we're doing that 3 times. So I've got the rhythm right here in front of you, and I'm gonna do it a couple times without the metronome, and then I'll do it with the metronome, which will probably help you in sort of conceptualizing and sort of understanding it a little bit. So let me do it without the metronome first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1. Dun, dun, da, dun. 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 I think this one is a little bit easier than the first one. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the accent, so the 1, for the first 2 groupings of 2. So instead of doing 1, 2, 1, 2, we'll be doing 1, 1. And then we're just having 6 16th notes for the sort of last subgroup of 3. So altogether it's going to be da, da, daga, 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 boom. All right, let's listen to it with a metronome. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, daga, 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 da, da, daga, 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 da, da, daga, 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 da, da, daga, 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 bum, bum, daga, 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 And for our very final subgroup of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, we're going to carry on with the approach of just playing the accent, so the 1, for the first 2 subgroups. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to have 2 16 notes for the very final beat. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, da da, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, da da, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, da da. Once again, let's take a listen with the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, da da, dun, dun, da da, dun, dun, da da, dun. So this concludes step 3. I know that we could create many more ideas, but I just wanted something concise and straightforward for the purpose of the video. I also know that everything we've done in step 3 is far more musically interesting than step 1 and 2. However, step 1 and 2 are kind of necessary, I believe. So, don't be in a rush, be patient. You gotta learn to walk before you, I don't know, squat a bunch of weight or jump from one place to the other place with, you know what I'm trying to say. See, I told you would play the guitar today. So now I'm gonna go through this segment assuming that you guys have done those 3 steps without the guitar, because I'm a firm believer that if it makes sense here and here, it will make sense here, or at least it will be much more stress-free when it comes to the actual playing. So I'm going to condense the steps a little bit. So we're going to work with our first subgroup of 4 and 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 4 bars of step 1, and I'll just stick to a single note. I'm just going to play, what note shall I play? I'll play G, because it's the first letter to my name, George Marius. And there's no note called M, so G wins. So we're going to do the first step for 4 bars with the note G. Then I'm going to do step 2 with the note G. And then I'm going to jump for 4 bars to step 3, again with the note G. All right, so I'm going to do them in sequence. And again, if you watch the video up to this point, it will hopefully make sense. All right, let's take a listen. And with this little demonstration, we're going to close off this video, especially given that this is really aimed towards people tipping their toes into this world for the first time. I think it's very important that you take the time to do the sort of drills I did just by clapping or just vocalizing those steps, and then spending enough time just practicing them with like isolated notes on the guitar. Because, you know, trying to then take this into a, I guess, more like real life, like musical setting is substantially more complicated. But I promise you that there will be a follow-up video in the future where we can sort of use that as our base and then take them to the next level. If you've enjoyed this video and you feel like you got a lot out of it, please subscribe, hit the bell, and let all your friends know. Well, not all of them, maybe the ones that do music or something. We'll renew our date for next Saturday. Until then, take care of yourselves. See ya.